Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for this segment, we have Rod Morris, co-founder and president of Lovevery, an early learning program. He joins me to discuss how caregivers can create an optimal environment to promote their child's development. Rod, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks, Jill.
Got it. And let's start with the science behind child development. When is a human brain developed by, and is it possible for caregivers to create an optimal environment to promote their child's development?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The science has been out there for a while now. First off, early childhood, crazy important. So 90% of the human brain is basically formed by the age 5. So in those first 5 years, you've got a lot going on, a lot of neural connections being built. And it turns out that neuroscientists generally agree only about half of that comes down to genetics, and the other half comes down to the environment that the child grows up in. And there's a lot that any parent, irrespective of income level or where they live, can do to optimize that environment, right? So different simple things that you can do, and it doesn't require toys at all. It can be things that you do around the house. All can contribute to the way your child learns. And we built Lovevery around that knowledge so that we could have a program, an early learning program that parents could use.
Tell us about the millennial parenting market and the growth potential of the global edtech market.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is that when it comes to priorities, nothing's more important to you as a parent than giving your baby the best, giving your toddler the best so they can have a great future. And so the future's bright for Lovevery. We only have about 1% awareness in the relevant parenting set in terms of unaided brand awareness here in the US, which is our most mature market. So there's lots of room to run here, and demand has been great. The business has been around about 5 years, and we've grown tremendously, and we just continue to see growth even in spite of inflationary pressures.
So where does Lovevery fit in the child development ecosystem?
Yeah, so we're unique because we're the only company of our kind that's really serving two customers at once. We're serving the parent with supportive content, and then we're serving their children with books and playthings. And we bring those things together, and they're all driven by science around these developmental windows. And then we're sending, in our flagship program, our early learning program called the Play Kits, it's a subscription. So you get a box of products and then content for the parent tied to these 2 to 3 month long developmental windows to give your child exactly what they're hungry to learn at that time. And what's surprising is that when you do this, when you optimize the environment for your child, you actually are setting them up for more complicated problem solving later in life.
Yeah, the expansion growth is really quite impressive too for a company so young. I mean, you're in a strategic retail channel with Target, available in more than 450 stores in the US alone.
That's right. Yeah, we're in more than 450 stores in the US alone. And then direct to consumer, our business is in more than half the zip codes in the US. We're north of 200 million in run rate revenue after about 5 years in market. And we're also in 30 markets around the world. So we launched our subscription early learning program in Europe and UK a little over a year ago, for example.
So when you think about growth moving forward in the longer term picture, what does that look like?
So for us, it's all about making more parents aware of the products. We're fortunate that many parents talk to each other about Lovevery. So it's our biggest way of winning over new customers. About 41% of customers hear about us from a friend and then subscribe. So we want to continue the love going. We've got a net promoter score of 85. So people really love what we're doing. And the more awareness we can bring to people about what we're able to do, the better. We also try to do that with content that's just of service to people, whether or not they bought our products. So last year, about 2.5 million people, took in content that we produced either on our blog, our podcast, our website, or our social channels. We've got more than 1 million followers on Instagram, and then maybe they become customers as well. So we're just all about spreading awareness, and I think it's a good feeling when you do that because it actually makes a difference. It helps parents know what they can do and feel more confident about the way they're raising their kids.
And Rod, what differentiates your early learning offering and solutions from other early learning platforms that are available out there?
Yeah, so I think a couple things. First off, we're really the only ones that are paying as much attention as we are to the parents and the children at the same time with this content for parents, which is very, very high engagement. Whatever metrics you look at, the engagement's high. And then really thoughtful, well-designed products for children. We designed them all in-house ourselves. Putting that together is unique. Another thing that's unique is we are bringing all these different disciplines of child development science together, whether it's early learning for math or social emotional learning, gross and fine motor, the list goes on. We talk to experts from all these different fields, and then we bring it together into a really simple solution that's empowering for parents. So we're unique in that way as well. I think if you compare us to other, say, subscription offerings that are out there for parents and kids, those tend to be more discretionary in nature, more project-based, whereas what we're doing is really a system that's replacing what parents were doing before with maybe toys off the shelf and searching around on Google, right?
Yeah.
And so the dynamic is more of like a utility. It's like a new essential for families, and that bears out in the retention. So our repeat rates are world-class. If you look at like a public comp type repeat rate, like percent of customers who come back for a second purchase, that's 94% for us. Or if you look at the revenue, the percent that comes from existing customers, that's 84% for us. So really highly retentive business because of those unique things that we're doing.
And that's what really resonated with me, where it's not as simple as, okay, here's some coloring books, here's some books, here's some, an ABC thing that you put the kid on the floor and they kind of self-teach them. It sounds as if you're providing a way for parents to really be engaged. And isn't that what we always talk about from a cultural and societal perspective, how to keep parents engaged in their most formative years? And I think that's what's really unique about your offering.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I agree. I think what's important there is it's fun. It feels good. It doesn't feel like a job when you do it the way that we're approaching it, right? Because you're putting something out there that your child is hungry to play with anyway. It might not be what you expected, but the science told us it's what would work, and then we tested it over and over again, and it does work. And so you're seeing your child, really just getting into something and being focused. And then as a parent, you get confident that you're doing the right thing. It's fun to watch. And it suddenly becomes a lot less like a job and a lot more like you're experiencing something with them and seeing the world through their eyes.
Yeah, especially for newer parents who certainly need that confidence. Rod, I appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me.